Well, now then, this is a railway signal. It's about time we put some signals on. It'll take me a while, I'm sure. But I found these, 5 of them for $10. That makes this $2, which is about £1.50 or something. Doesn't look too bad. The light should be on the other side of the pole, but I can live with that. Yes, usually much more, nothing prototypical, just Chinese, I guess made in China. It says right on there. Another nice little module. I've had this one for some years, and I did have it working on some big lights. I hooked up relays that would operate a set of traffic lights. It's gone back years. But I found similar priced lights. In fact, these were much cheaper. I thought, oh, look, I can make those, paint a white line around the outside, and these will be street traffic lights, of course, because this module operates the traffic lights in the sequence that they operate in England, not here in America. That'll need some explaining. But let's first, you can't actually tell which color's which because the LEDs are all colorless. See, an LED doesn't give off light based on the color lens it has. It gives off light based on the chemical composition of the diode itself. I'm trying to get the light to show you. They're all white. But the middle one, amber or yellow, but unfortunately the top one is green and the bottom one is red. So unless I'm going to hang them from a bridge upside down, these are not going to work as street traffic lights, but they will work on stations. So I've actually opened one of these up and see if I can rearrange things, but it looks like that would be a no. So the sequence then that this thing drives, red, orange, and green lights, but when you're going from, in America, when you're going, you're at red, when you're about to go, it just goes green. Where in England, it goes red and amber together and then green. It's like starting a race. Not really sure it makes much difference, but of course in a model, if you're modeling England, you really don't want it going from red to green. So that's what this thing does, but now we've got to come up with a way of making these lights. Oh, there you go. There's a nice view of it. They all look white, but when they get their little bitty voltage, they'll show up the colors. They're actually quite reasonable. So the boxes are all very similar. Put that one over there. These are some of those street lights you've seen around the layout. Well, these ones you've seen on the stations, not on the layout. They come even with the little resistor you need to put in series, which is remarkable. I don't know what you call that part, but it slides up and down the poles. You actually do have to glue it in place to get the light to be the right height. And again, the box was $10. I don't know how many were in it. I think 10 or 12. But they work. They were the ones you saw on the platforms. Let me show you. These ones, they're actually a warm white. They look a bit green in the picture, but they are, to the eye, a warm white. And you just drill a hole, and then the piece at the bottom, see that? It just sits there. So what I've done is figured out what width that is, drilled the hole that size and just jammed them in there, and they seem to have been just fine. There was one that slipped down, so I've glued it. I don't know which one it is now. Very different than the street lights. The street lights are a little bit more ornate. Same sort of idea though. Look just fine. You can get prototypical southern region lights, I'm quite sure, painted the right color and all of that good stuff. I'm in America. Nobody around me knows. My friends have no idea what southern region is. Now at this point, I have no intention of operating the layout in complete darkness, but there's enough light there that you could. Station needs a bit of light, and I still keep thinking about that organ needing some, and the caravan and some of the stalls. I've been looking for my LED box. I bought, I think it was 1,000 LEDs for $20, and about half of them don't work and you throw them away. So in the background of some of the other videos I make, this lighthouse sits. It's one of those weird ornaments that every grandmother has. We found it in a market stall, one of the junk shops Hillary's likes, and I found a way of putting a flashing light in the top of it, and that's some of those LEDs. There's no magic electronics, it's just the LEDs do that. Now, one of the problems with lighting buildings is that one, for example, is one of those, what are they? Drop them and they shatter. It's a bit like pottery. I don't know what it is. This one would look great if it had some stained glass windows put in it. Except that there are enough cracks around the edges. Let me show you. So for example, where this roof meets that wall, there's a texture on the wall, and so light would come out through that gap there. It looks all right from a distance, but put a light in there and that'll all come out. Now looking at this one, you would think you'd have the same problem, but aha, these Europeans, they have a clever thought about that. They give you a paper insert, so everything's black. In fact, that loop there is a special kind of bulb you can get that goes in there. I think it was probably designed before LEDs. I'll show you what I mean. So this work light is really much brighter than you'd ever put inside one of these things. Let me show you. But even with that great big light in there, it still lights up the windows, and you don't get light leakage all through the rest of the surfaces. So the front door, oh, there is a little bit around the front door. Do you see that? That's what I'm talking about. But I'm sure if you put the right kind of light in there, that would be fine. It's very difficult. And do you see the bleed around the window there, where the plastic is lighting up? Now you've got to remember, this is a big bright light in there. So clearly some of the buildings are suitable for lighting and some are not. And that makes it difficult. You have to actually think about that before you build the house or you build the station. So that's why I'm a little sluggish in fitting lights. If none of the houses have them, it doesn't look odd. But if one of them does, and I guess everybody must be out of the other one. The police box, that would be fun, but it's a solid piece. I'd have to drill a hole all the way through, and the chances of hitting the top over that distance would be, well, I suppose I might be able to do it, but you don't have to have everything completely accurate, I suppose. Now then, what I was looking at was some of these stalls getting light fittings hiding under the ceilings. So this one, for example, you could put one on the roof there and find some very thin wires. Which is why I had my boxes of lights and LEDs out, but I can't find the tiny ones that I need. I was going to have a play and see if I can't dim them down. Now this is interesting that somebody somewhere along the line has bought, I don't think I did, bought a pack of 30 LEDs from Pico. Well, clearly Pico don't make LEDs. And so I guess they realized that model railway enthusiasts rather like them, and so came up with a distribution method. Now I've got a box, something similar to this with the ones I'm looking for. Those are actually white LEDs. They're rather big though. Let me show you. They're huge. But that's not going to work. And there's a whole bunch of red and green. That's how I keep my resistors. All very organized. I used to have a big crate of them, but I don't use them nearly as much as I used to. So there's a few electronic bits and pieces in there, but they're not the bits I'm looking for. Another lighting project will be a couple of red or orange. I do have some orange LEDs, believe it or not, and have a little flicker effect going on the fire there. So there's plenty of light projects. The one with the runway there I told you about. Now this looks a bit like fishing line, and I've often wondered if fishing line would work, but it's fiber optic plastic. Nice diameter, it's just not like hair. It would work nicely as headlights in cars. But the time and trouble to get that to work would be immense. But you never know. Now then, to give you an idea of just how tiny things are, you see that yellow-white dot on the end of the red and black wire there? Well, that's the actual LED itself. That's my finger in comparison. So they are absolutely tiny. Now, somewhere I've got a strip of those LEDs on a sheet. How you'd ever solder them in place, it'll be a game. But that's what I've got in mind for the market stalls, rather than the traditional bulb-looking thing. But I have no idea where they are. And of course, they're so tiny, they could be anywhere. They're on a roll. So if you've seen them, let me know. Now, here in America, some of these model house kits come with this. It's a lighting kit, they call it. It's just a little LED on a square pad that clips into the model. And then you can buy additional ones for $3.99, I believe they are, with ridiculously high price, with a resistor and a diode. Now, I don't know why they need the diode, because if you plug an LED in the wrong way round, it just doesn't work. And it won't burn out because you've got a resistor there. So that's a puzzle to me. Anyway, lots to think about. Lots of possibilities, lots of projects. You're welcome to come along for the ride. I think that caravan would benefit from a couple of lights, and so would some of the market stalls. The station building certainly needs something. I think lighting brings a layout to life. We'll see. Until next time, thanks for watching. Goodbye.